The stillness of midnight was ultimately shattered by a violent tearing sound. An unidentified missile, like a hidden sword in the night sky, pierced through what Israel believed to be its impenetrable air defense barrier without warning. It emitted a chilling, sinister laughter. The sharp, piercing wail of air raid sirens instantly echoed across the skies of Tel Aviv. The city's lights twisted and distorted in a golden glow. Ben Gurion International Airport, Israel's busiest air hub, was forced to shut down in an instant. Flight information boards turned a glaring blood red. This sudden midnight terror originated from thousands of kilometers away, from the Yemeni Houthi forces, long dismissed as poorly equipped and far from advanced. This late-night operation was executed with such speed and precision that it struck Israel's vital points like a sudden blow, while its unexpectedly effective combat results served as a cruel but clear mirror, reflecting certain miscalculations in Iran's past assumptions, leaving Tehran shocked. It forced them to recognize key issues they had previously overlooked or underestimated. This raid was far from a simple tactical strike. It was more like a deafening alarm bell, reverberating across the Middle East, signaling a profound and rapid transformation in the logic of warfare. When Israel's pride, its $100 million F-35 Idaho stealth fighter jets roared into Yemeni airspace to bomb the port of Hodeidah, they expected an effortless, technologically dominant victory. This was the beginning of their meticulously planned Operation Black Lacquer. Yet this seemingly foolproof assault ended in a way no one anticipated, especially shocking Israel's military commanders and sending shockwaves across the Middle East. For years, the Western world had labeled the Houthis as guerrillas, nothing more than scattered fighters relying on terrain and fanaticism. But the events over Hodeidah brutally shattered this arrogance. The expected one-sided assault by advanced stealth jets never materialized. Instead, Israeli pilots were met with dozens of fiery streaks rising from the ground. Repurposed Soviet-era Shenyang surface-to-air missiles, launched from Chinese HQ to chassis, and even air-to-air missiles, originally meant for dogfights, now mounted on ground launchers, forming an unconventional air defense network. These multi-million-dollar Western war machines, which pilots had trained on endlessly in simulators, were caught off guard in real combat by what had been scorned as scrap metal. In the end, they retreated in disarray. The carefully planned airstrike ended in near rout. The long-held myth of Western technological supremacy collapsed on Yemen's dusty, war-torn battlefields. In that moment, the technological gap seemed erased by an invisible hand. The Houthis' battlefield ingenuity and extreme creativity stunned global military analysts. Even more astonishing, they unveiled a homemade suicide drone dubbed the Weight 358. A crude-looking device capable of circling and scanning targets before diving like a hawk. This low-cost innovation, combined with repurposed missiles, created a deadly web. That forced Israel's elite fighter squadrons armed to the teeth to turn tail. The Houthis. Through a decade of survivalist warfare, had turned weakness into strength. They maximized every obsolete weapon's potential, creating an unthinkable miracle, reducing a vast technological gap to a battlefield joke. But the Houthis' midnight strike didn't stop at defense. Their counterattack was the true masterstroke. The most devastating weapon was a hypersonic missile that tore through Israel's defenses at unimaginable speeds. Israel's Iron Dome seemed useless against it. The missile's trajectory, designed to exploit radar blind spots, made it a shadowy assassin striking lethally. Meanwhile, the Houthis' economic warfare. Seizing the Israeli cargo ship Galaxy Leader and threatening Red Sea mines, choked Israel's trade lifeline. Shipping costs soared as companies were routed, inflicting deeper damage than direct attacks into Iran. The Houthis' success forced a reckoning. Two contrasting scenes played out. Yemeni fighters downing F-35s with repurposed missiles, while Iran's own air defenses failed to stop crude drones. The lesson was clear: ingenuity could defy supremacy. Like an assassin lurking in the shadows, striking from radar blind spots with lethal precision. A killing blow delivered flawlessly. Israel's painstakingly built air defense network had been thoroughly decoded. Yet more consequential than direct missile hits was the Houthis' systematic strangulation of Israel's Red Sea trade lifeline. The captured Israeli cargo ship Galaxy Leader, now anchored at the Red Sea's strategic choke point, stood not just as political theatre, but as a dagger pressed to Israel's economic throat. Houthi threats to mine the shipping lanes were no bluff. Each drone or missile strike on passing merchant vessels was meticulously calibrated. Physical damage mattered less than the exponentially growing fear that drove shipping giants to divert around Africa at crippling cost. 60% of Israel's trade once flowed through this artery. Now the Houthis squeezed it shut. With Israel's own blockade tactics turned against them, the economic hemorrhage from soaring logistics costs and shortages cut deeper than any border skirmish ever could. When Houthi leaders coldly detailed their mine-laying capabilities, the dread permeated from Israeli cabinet rooms to supermarket checkout lines. This was asymmetric warfare at its most surgical. The shockwaves from Yemen's midnight strike finally crashed onto desks in Tehran. A brutal wake-up call for those who thought they understood Middle Eastern warfare. Two starkly contrasting scenes, now played on repeat in Iranian war colleges. Scene 1. Hodeida Port. Houthi crews expertly track Israeli F-35s with repurposed Iranian missiles. Their face is lit by radar screens as fire streaks upward. A $100 million stealth jet meets its end from a $20,000 missile launched by fighters in sandals. Scene 2. Tehran, April 2024. Primitive drones slip through Iran's vaunted Bava R-373 air defenses like ghosts. No alarms, no intercepts. Just the humiliating truth. Their proxy had outclassed them. The Houthis decade of grinding war had forged something Tehran's theorists never anticipated. A pauper's army that could humble kings. Amidst shrill alarms and resolute commands, missiles roar skyward, their fiery trails carving deadly arcs through the night. One finds its mark, a $100 million symbol of technological supremacy, crippled or destroyed. The crude ground control station reveals Houthi fighters' faces focused, unwavering. Scene 2. Outside a key military facility near Tehran, April this year. A swarm of rudimentary drones penetrates Iran's proud national air defense network like specters. No radar detection. No effective interception. Total unimpeded access. They strike designated targets at will before vanishing. Post-mortem analysis shows Iran's much-touted air defense forces reacted sluggishly. Their systems riddled with flaws.